Good day, everyone. My name is Madiha. It's week 9 and my case review is on Consumer Loss Barometer. This report is based on two separate surveys, one for business and another for consumer. The survey was authored by KPMG and fielded by Forbes. Let's start with the brief introduction of KPMG. KPMG stands for Kalen Wild Pete Marwick Co-Dealer. Each of those names stands for one of the major partnerships that makes up KPMG history. KPMG is a professional services firm offering audit, tax, and advisory services. It is one of the Big Four auditors along with Deloitte, Young, and PwC. KPMG international member firms have 174,000 professionals, including more than 9,000 partners in 155 countries. We all know about cyber attacks and their impacts. They target general public or corporate organizations through malicious programs like viruses, unauthorized web access, fake websites, and other means to steal personal or institutional information, causing far-reaching damage. We consider cybersecurity is an all-hands IT issue. Security is not just an IT problem. If you go beneath, it's something even deeper than that. Business value revolves around cybersecurity. Organizations are gathering vast amount of data to learn about their customer needs in order to improve business growth, products, services, and the overall customer experience. So at this point, information security becomes less of an IT challenge but more of a core component of fundamental business. In this regard, Graybell US leader KPMG Cyber stated that in too many industries, information security is still seen as a technology risk to be minimized instead of a business issue to be optimized. Forbes and KPMG survey 403 corporate executives and 750 consumers to get deeper understanding of how cybersecurity management or mismanagement can create or destroy business value. They focused on financial, tech, retail, and auto sectors for their survey. Cyber attacks are gaining the ability to become more complex, increasing risk for companies everywhere. Considering this, business need leadership to address potential risks and find solutions to protect intellectual property. KPMG surveyed business view of accessing threats and opportunities and asked them, is there a leader whose sole role is information security? You can see from the figure that retail and auto business sector are relatively laggards. Only 45% auto and 58% retail voted yes, because their main focus is business, not information security. While financial and tech firms are considering information security seriously, 85% tech and financial services firms said yes, there is a leader whose sole role is information security. Financial firms have customer financial information, and security breach here is a major damage. It would not hit an individual but the whole economy. There are different types of attack with different impacts causing damage. KPMG looked into different attack vectors that organizations experienced in past 12 to 24 months, and they find that percentage of malware attack is high among other attacks, and malware hits retail and auto organization more than financial and tech firms. Again, it's because retail and auto firms are more concerned about their business, not of the security. After malware, percentage of internal attack vector is high among all firms. According to KPMG survey, financial and tech firms have high percentage that use capital funds to invest in information security to secure themselves from cyber attacks and to gain customer trust. Retail and auto firms are again lagging behind. You can see from the figure that only 32% auto firms use capital funds to invest in information security in the past year. This may be because they are relatively newcomers to the risk of cybersecurity or maybe underfunding. This might be the reason of investing less in information security. Next, KPMG looked at organizations' top concerns in case of breach, and they find firms are more concerned about their reputation in case of breach. because rebuilding trust and reputation takes a long time. Beside reputation factors, firms are more concerned about financial loss and job security. Basically, financial loss is threat to employee job security. There would always be a fear of firing among employees. Another organization concern is regulatory enforcement in case of breach, because they can shut down the organization until the breach is mitigated. KPMG next looked into vulnerable areas in an organization data security. They find out that employees are the weakest link in cybersecurity. Employees are the source of data leakage or breach, sometimes intentionally or unknowingly. So this area is more vulnerable and have the highest percentage. You can see in the figure that the percentage of employee breaches is 54, which is very high. Sharing data with third parties is another factor of data breach. Breach due to sharing data with third parties taking high percentage after employee factor. Area of wireless computing and inadequate firewalls are also the areas of high vulnerability. Hackers can collect, access, and process large amount of valuable and sensitive personal, corporate, and financial information when network is insecure. Besides these, if organization policies are not properly implemented, external attackers are also a factor in data security breach. KPMG survey showed that overall, retail have the highest percentage of vulnerable areas. Tech organizations have vulnerable areas too, but they have control on them, so they are not highly vulnerable. KPMG survey showed that business organizations are lagging behind in information security. In this regard, Graybell, US leader KPMG Cyber, stated that cyber risk teams within IT prefer a rigid operating model with little or no change other than updates to security processes. Business units meanwhile need growth, and that means agility measured in days and weeks, not months and years. In an era where both agility and data security are essential, companies must achieve greater alignment between their business units and IT. And he is right. Business sector needs growth in information security. Every day there are new challenges or threats. Business organizations need to take them seriously. This is in their own interest. KPMG other survey was on consumers, that how they perceive cyber breaches in different sectors and how concerned are they. First sector they took for survey is tech sector. KPMG surveyed consumers' perception on cyber breaches by taking 5 specific products or services that includes IoT, Wi-Fi, cloud, apps, and auto. They looked into this by asking consumers that how concerned are they if any of the mentioned product or services they are using is hacked. They find that the concern is evident across all consumer segments. For Wi-Fi, consumers showed extreme concern, but for IoT, cloud, and application, they showed moderate concern. Next sector they choose is banking and financial services. KPMG surveyed consumer perception on cyber breaches in banking and financial firms by asking them if their personal accounts were hacked, what would lead them to close their accounts and move to new institution. Consumers expect that their institution should act quickly and take responsibility. There are some factors that can make them think to change the institution, like 37% have a thought that if bank refuse to cover loss, then this factor will lead them to move to new bank. Lack of timely acknowledgement and response is another factor. 30% thinks that banks should provide them details of the incident and impact of it on customers, and they should acknowledge and respond towards incident on time. If banks fail to show responsibility in the event of breach, then they will move to new institution. 24% consumers think that if banks do not have a solid plan to prevent future attacks, then it's an alarming situation, and to avoid more damage, they will prefer to move. Consumers think that if they are learning about the incident from the press before being informed by the bank, it means that bank is trying to hide something from them or there is something fishy. This situation will create untrusty relationship of them with bank. KPMG take three generations in account for their survey. One boomer, second Gen X, third millennial. Boomer generation aged between 55 to 73, Gen X aged between 40 to 54, and millennial generation aged between 25 to 39. KPMG next question was that what actions do you expect your institution to take to help reduce concerns related to an information security breach or loss of your data? Boomer and Gen X have almost same thoughts that institution guarantee to cover loss in case of security breach, and frequent communications and updates from their side can help to reduce concerns related to security breach. 42% Gen X and 34% Boomer thinks that free credit report for 6 to 12 months can reduce their concerns. A very few percentage of Boomer and Gen X thinks that contacting direct to institution security group and offer of a course from institution on how to secure mobile devices for banking would be helpful in reducing concerns related to information security. KPMG find key difference between Boomer and Millennial generation regarding the level of responsibility, as only 56% Millennial thinks that guarantee to cover loss can play vital role in reducing concerns, which is less percentage than of Boomer and Gen X. 44% of Millennial generation thinks that frequent communications and updates can help to reduce their concerns, and 29% thinks that a free credit report for 6 to 12 months can do this. So overall, 74% consumers belonging to different age groups thinks that guarantee to cover loss can be helpful in reducing their concerns. 38% thinks that frequent communication and updates, and 35% thinks that free credit report for 6 to 12 months would be helpful in reducing concerns. Percentage of contacting direct to institution security group and demand of a course is less. Their next question was that who is to blame if you use mobile banking and your personal accounts are hacked? This time Boomer and Millennial are on the same page that financial institutions are accountable if their personal accounts are hacked. Gen X have moderate thought on this, and they think financial institutions and themselves both are responsible and accountable if personal accounts are hacked. But percentage of Boomer and Millennial on the thought that both are responsible is less. Overall, 55 consider financial institutions accountable in case of any hacking, and 37% thinks that both are responsible if personal accounts are hacked. Interestingly, majority do not consider themselves accountable in case of cyber breach. Even in my point of view, financial institutions are responsible if personal accounts are hacked because it's their responsibility to secure their network and to take preventive measures to avoid security breaches. They should be aware of emerging threats and challenges and should have planned to respond proactively. KPMG next question was that whose responsibility is it to ensure mobile devices are secured for mobile banking? High percentage of Millennial and Gen X, which is 60 and 52%, thinks that it's their responsibility to ensure mobile devices are secured for mobile banking by not installing unnecessary applications and by keeping antivirus up to date. A very few percentage of Boomer and Gen X and Millennial think that it's the responsibility of financial institutions to ensure their mobile devices are secured for mobile banking. Interestingly, high percentage of Boomer generation do not use mobile banking. Highest use of mobile banking is among Gen X and Millennial. So overall, 37% is using mobile banking and 55% thinks it's their responsibility to secure mobiles if they are using mobile banking. In this regard, Jitinder Sharma, advisory line of Business Leader Financial Services, stated that nearly 3 out of 4 consumers are using mobile banking, almost 90% of millennials. There is an opportunity for banks to better retain their customer base and solidify the trust that their customers have in their banking platform by showing that the security is a top line issue and they have a unique solution. In other words, for financial institutions who get it right, this is a brand building and growth opportunity. And he is right. Financial institutions need to understand this, that their customers are their business and their strength. So protecting customer data, maintaining trust, and giving customers best services are their high priority. Here are a few questions for you to see how concerned are you if your cloud or social media is hacked. Would you store more personal information on your cloud or social media accounts if you had greater confidence in their security? And what steps you think companies should take to mitigate any damage caused by cyber breaches? In my second part of case study, I will talk about how consumers perceive cyber breaches in connected devices, mobile pay applications, social media, and retails. I'm looking forward for your comments. Thank you.